In this week's lesson, we're going to take what we've been doing not only this year but last year, and we're going to put it all together and we're going to try to write a nice little true blue song with harmony. I want to show you first the tools that I have up. I have my edit tool up, my duration so that I can pick my notes, what length I want them to be. I have my tempo so I can change the speed. I have my text tool up just because I was putting my numbers underneath my chords. And I have a layout, that's new, and a repeat, that's new. So we're going to play around with these two new ideas today. Remember, all those things should be checked off in your menu, and then click on your menu to get it out of the way, and your tools will be up here. So we're going to look at the idea of writing the chord progression first when you write a song. We have always just written some melodies, and now we've learned how to build the triad chords or notes from the scale using space, 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 or line, line, line. The 5 chord's not here, so you can't see that. But if you have not done those lessons already, please go back into the weeks before, because this video may just be a little too complicated if you haven't gotten the weeks before understood and managed. So notice that this time I didn't use the 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 1 chord. I played with it a little, and I put my 1 chord for 2 measures, and then I went to just the 4 chord and back to the 1. And I'm going to have a one little section here. Some people on their assignments had a section being a measure or maybe 2 measures and then doing 2 different measures, but most sections are at least 4 measures long. In pop tunes, they are 8, 16, 32 measures long. We're just going to have a 4 measure section A, and I have already placed my chords, so let's take a listen to this. So that's what we're going to write a melody to using the chordal tone and passing tone rules that we learned about before in the last assignment. We wrote a little melody up here, so your chords should be down below. Start on the 1 chord. It doesn't really matter what you do after. So I would stick with the 1, 4, and 5 chords, and maybe next week we can add some other chords from the scale of C major in here. But let's just use the 1, 4, and 5 chord, and let's make sure we start with the 1 chord. Now I ended with the 1 chord here because it gives it sort of a feeling of coming back to do. But I'm going to be writing another section after this, and I'm going to end on do for sure, because that'll be the end of the song. So I have my 1 chord, and I have my 1 chord at the end. So I'm going to start on C. That's the easiest way to start my song off. So I'm going to start with a C, and I have a quarter note, but I want to make it a dotted quarter note. So I'm just going to hit the dot while it's lit up red. And then I'm going to do a D, but I don't want a dotted note, so I'm going to change it to an 8th note. And then I'm going to give it an E, light up that rest. And you don't have to write 1,000 notes. You can write nice long notes and use half notes and things like that. I also know that while I'm writing, this is going too fast. So I'm going to double click on the whole thing, and I'm going to go up to my tempo tool. And while I'm writing my song, I'm going to turn this down to like 50. Remember to make sure that the whole song is pinked if you want the whole song to change. And now my whole song will play slower. Let's listen to what I've written so far. Okay, so what I now need to think about is the notes that I wrote in here. Are they chord tones or passing tones? I have C, E, and G. Okay, that's a C. This is a D, so that's a passing tone. We have to be careful to keep that at least an 8th note or less, and to make sure I have a chord tone before and after, which I do. Now, I'm going to show you this whole section in a moment, but I know I'm going to make this section 1, A, the A part of the form. And I would like the whole part to play twice. So I want to show you how to do that. So if you remember from previous lessons in years past, you can use repeats. Well, if you want something to repeat, I want it to start right here. I'm going to light up this measure, and going up to my repeat tool, you want to look for the one that has the two dots on the inside, because when you come back to this first note, it bounces and keeps going. So the dark line on the left, the two dots on the right, light up your first measure and hit it. Okay, so now I have a repeat sign at the beginning. I'm going all the way to the end. I'm going to light those measures up. And now I want the other side, the right side of the repeat, so that whoever's playing my song knows you play this, keep going, and boom, bounce back to here and play it again. Okay, so now I have a repeat. Now I would like to also add sections. So I want to go down here and have 4 measures to do my B section. And I'll show you the rest of my melody up here in just a moment. But I want to add my B section. Now you can do this all at once. You can lay all your chords down in all your sections and then go and put your melody in, or you can take one little section at a time. But I'm going to show you how, reminding you that if you want to add measures, you just click above, okay? And when you see the plus sign, you hit the plus. But I don't want my measure there. So if I have my layout tool, I can light up this last measure and hit this first one right here, and it'll cause a system break, and my measure will come down here. All right, again, all I did was light up that last measure and then hit this right here with the dots underneath in my layout tool, and that added my measure. So now I can just come down here and hit plus, wake this guy up again, hit plus, wake this guy up again, hit plus. All right, now I'm ready to write my B section. Now the thing is that the A section should sort of have a story, a way that it plays, and then when you go to the B section, you should be saying, oh, it's almost like another different little mini song. So when I flip the page and you look at what I finished with, you'll see that the melody we're going to write up here and the chords that we use down here are a little bit different than the ones that I used in the first section. So now I have my paper all set up. I'm going to head over and show you what I did next. So here's how I ended up with my melody. Let's take a look at that first. I did end up with a passing tone here because the 4 chord is F, A, and C, and I used an E. You don't have to color yours. You don't have to record this. You don't have to sing to it. We're just going to start, and you don't have to follow these chords. Use the 1, 4, and 5 chords. Start with the 1. Make your last one a 1. But do whatever you want with those chords, and then try to write a melody above it. Again, I think it's a little fast to do 120, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to stay at the speed of 120 and listen to the melody and see how this repeats. Now I want something different, something that creates a little different feel when I go to my B section, okay? So I decided to start on my 5 chord with the G, B, and D. And then I moved back to the 4, and I even decided to split and have the 4 play as a half note here and a half note on the 5, and then, of course, it's the last measure, so back to the 1. So now let's listen here to the difference in what I've set up for my chordal progression for my B section. So now all I have to do is come up here and write a completely different melody, a completely different story, a completely different theme or a musical idea across these 4 measures. And I'm going to do something a little dramatic because remember, you want to use that nice skip motion for singable, but I did start using, oh, sorry, step motion here, skip motion from this E to this G, but then I started using some leaps and then I went back to steps, right? So I'm going to be dramatic though. I would like to go from a quarter note G to an octave leap. Wow, that's pretty powerful. And then I'm going to continue with that melody and talk about the passing tones. But I thought what I would do is just hear what this sounds like to start with. And I'm going to actually slow it down so you can really pay attention to it, because 120 is a little bit quick. So let me go up to my tempo, put it down to that 50, and listen to it again. Now that's a completely different start than what I had here. Listen to the start of the song here. That sets the idea up. Then I come down here, and here's the start of the B section. And now I'll show you how I completed the song with a completely different B section that it plays well with my A section, and it sounds nice with my A section, and it uses the same chords in a different order as my A section, but it's like a different part of the story. Or maybe you would look at this as the verse and the chorus, or this is the chorus and this is the verse. So let me go to the next page and show you the completed assignment. So I've really changed things up. Here I used eighth notes and started moving in steps and sort of sliding around. Up here I was putting lots of half notes in, and I had a completely different musical idea. So let's listen to this one. So now what I've actually created in the end is an AAB song. So I play the A part twice, and I go to the B section. Now, ideally, we would want to have another kind of repeat or ending 1 and 2. For those of you that are in band and know about those things, we could set up the form so that we go back and do this again if we wanted this to be our chorus. But most songs actually start with the verses, so, and the chorus or the refrain, the part that everybody likes to sing, comes later on. But this is just for demonstration. And you can go very simple. You could just use 2 of the chords, but set your chords up first. Do your first 4 measures. Create your 4-measure idea. Maybe consider using a repeat so it ends up being 8 measures long. It's a nice way to lengthen your song. And then use your layout tool by adding first, go up and get that plus sign, add, and then go back to this measure and split it so your 4 go down. And then put your chords in, and then write your melody here. And by the way, these guys are all orange because they're passing tones. G, B, and D. There's a G, there's a G, oh, there's an F. That's a passing tone. It has a chord tone before and after it. G, B, and D. I think I have to go and switch that one. Oh, I know what I did. I'm going to put it, that's a special one. I'm going to make it orange, just so that you can see that one is actually, where's my colors? Too bad you guys aren't here to tell me. Got my color tool, make it orange. Okay, so don't pay attention to Mrs. Himmel having this F in here, because sometimes we use the F on top and go to 7th chords, for those of you that are wondering. And then over here I have an F and an A and a C. There's a C and there's a C, and there is a D, right? And that's not in the chord, so it's passing tone. The point is that it should sound pretty when you're done. Now, I've got the whole thing at 90. Let's listen to the whole song now that it's completed. Now you can make your songs as long or as short as you want, but I'm thinking that next week we might add some decorations to this song. So I would stick with something very controllable and easy and short, just 4 measures, decide what chords that you would like to use and get your chords down there, and then start to write your melody. Add your repeat signs if you would like to not have to write more and just have a nice little A section that plays twice, and then go on and add your chords and using just the 1, 4s, and 5s. If you want to branch out and try something else, feel free, but I like you to keep it simple. I don't even care if you just use 1 and 5 chord throughout, okay? But definitely use at least 2 chords. And then put your chords down here. Listen to it a few times. Hit play. See what it sounds like and see if you start to hear a melody. And then if you can, go up here and put your melody that you're hearing, or at least sort of like it, into the melody section in the treble clef. And you should have a nice, when you're finished, AAB song. And we have talked about the triads, there they are. The passing tones, there they are. And form, A, and B. Or verse, verse, refrain, however you would like to see it. Okay, so go slow, go easy, don't worry, just try, and make sure that you've done the lessons before, because I can see that this would be a little overwhelming if you tried to do this lesson and you haven't added the one step at a time lessons that we've been doing so far. Good luck, everybody. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Don't forget to put your title and your name and section on all emails and on all songs so that I can find them. All right. Take care, everybody. I hope you're doing well and I miss you. Bye bye.